Okay, boys and girls, today we're going to go over classifying rocks. We're on page 44 of our textbook, and it's short. I think it only goes to 47. So, again, you don't have your textbook at home for this. It's chapter 2, lesson 2, but you have to use the online book, or if you download this lesson.pdf, which is what I'm working on right now, reading from, you can look at that, you can make it bigger and so forth. So what I want you to do is listen to this video, read the book, and then you have a small little video to watch and then an activity to do. Don't forget too is you need to mark yes in the homework discussion board when you complete the homework. So in Schoology, what I've been doing, if you did it, I put a 0 because it's worth 0 points. I just put a 0 there. If you don't have anything there, that means that you didn't do it. Okay. All right. So we're on page 44. You can read about the lonely giant, you could just read that. Okay, next part. So how do geologists classify rocks? So a couple things. Rocks are classified based on their mineral composition. That means what kind of minerals they're made of, what color the rocks are, and also what the texture is. The mineral composition and color. So most rocks are made up of minerals and other materials. They could be made up of one mineral. They could be made up of several materials, and they also could be made up of I said materials, I mean minerals. So they could contain several minerals, or what they can be made up of is minerals and other rocks. So a couple other things. Granite, for example, is made up of a bunch of different minerals, from quartz to feldspar. And I notice I spelled quartz there wrong. So quartz should be a Z. Typo. Feldspar, mica, and so forth. Rock-forming minerals, there's 20 different rock-forming minerals on Earth, and they're about 20, and they're mainly in the Earth's crust. Rock's color, so it gives us clue to the rock's mineral composition. So for example, granite is fairly light colored, so that means that there's a lot of silica in there. And silica is made up of silicon and oxygen. Basalt is dark, so it's dark colored. So that has a lower content of like silicon and oxygen. So the color helps geologists also classify besides the mineral composition. Next, we have the texture of rocks. So these are based on grains, and they're grains of other rocks. So grains basically give the rock its texture. Grains, let me go back to grains. Grains are a mixture of different rocks particles and different mineral particles, and that gives you what the grain looks like. So grains give the rock its texture, and texture is the look and feel of the rock. So how it looks, how it feels, that's a different texture. So there's different types of grains. So we have grain size that we need to talk about. So if you look over here, let me just get so the grain size is over here. So you can have fine grain, coarse grain, or no visible grain at all. So the large grain, which is called coarse grain, so that's this one right here, has a lot of big, large minerals in there. So it's large. They look large, the grain. Tiny grains are very fine, like minerals and rocks in there, and those are, if they're very fine, those are tiny grains. So they're very, very fine. They're microscopic actually, and some of them don't have any grains or visible grains, like flint. So if I look at grain shape, then grain shape is over here. So the shape of the grain, sometimes they they're from shapes of crystals in the mineral. So the different shapes of the crystals give you the grain shapes themselves. Some are rounded. They could be jagged bits of other rocks in there also. So if you look here, the rock conglomerate has big rounded grain. If you look over here, this has jagged grains in there. So it's what it looks like, jagged grains. So you got the shape, and now you have the size. So then we have grain pattern. So you have banded grains, which are grains, are in a pattern of layers and swirls. So that's like that gneiss right here. So you can see the swirls and there's layers. Non-banded, there's really not a pattern. So the quartzite here, it doesn't lay in a pattern. All right, let's go on to the next part. And this is the last page. I told you it's a pretty short lesson. So a couple things here. Origin is the way the rock was formed. So we're really going to talk about this in the next several lessons. Igneous rock, which is right here, forms from cooling of magma or lava. So remember, magma is basically like lava deep in the ground, and then lava is outside of the volcano. So it hardens when it comes outside. So igneous rock, it hardens deep inside the earth with magma, or when it cools, it could cool deep inside, or it can cool outside, and that's lava there, where it cools outside and forms rock. And we'll talk about igneous a little bit later. Sedimentary rock is particles of rock and remains of animals and plants that are pressed together. They form layers. So sedimentary rock is right here. A lot of the ocean floor below the sand is sedimentary rock. Metamorphic rock is right here. That is rock that is changed from heat and pressure or chemical reactions. Most of it forms deep underground. So there's lots of pressure underground of the earth, inside the earth. So they twist and there's a lot of pressure. So if you think of an earthquake, how rocks twist and so forth, and that helps form different metamorphic rocks. So it takes a couple pieces, takes rock together, pushes it together and forms new rock, or twists it and forms new rock like that. Okay, so that's basically it. Just make sure that you do the activity and watch the other video, and make sure that you read the lesson, since it's only about 4 pages and shouldn't be too bad. All right, boys and girls. Oh, wait, I have one more thing. Since today is May the 4th, may the 4th be with you all. All right, boys and girls, have a good one. Bye-bye.